Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for clicking on the video. Welcome to Shaun Jones Fitness. Now, today we're going to discuss something very controversial indeed. A little bit different from our usual fat acceptance videos. Now, you've probably heard about this BBC gender pay gap crap, and if you still believe that the gender pay gap exists, I think there's no hope for you, because it doesn't. There is an earnings gap. And that's what it is. It's an earnings gap. It's not an actual pay gap. You cannot pay someone. You cannot have a man and a woman working side by side and doing the exact same job with the exact same hours and pay them different. You cannot do it. It's against the law. Look it up. We like to believe, the media constantly gives off this narrative that we're living in a very unequal society, which just isn't true anymore. And anytime people give examples of inequality, it's usually from 20, 30, even like 40, 60 years ago. It's ridiculous. So I was watching Loose Women this morning. Yeah, guys, I love Loose Women. I love myself a little bit of Loose Women because it gives me so much content to use. Watching Loose Women, and what do? They start talking about it. Yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair that the women should get paid less to their male counterparts. And there's just so many points which to me is just common sense. There's loads of just points that's just like, oh my god, are you doing that? You stupid. Right, there's no point me going on. I'll just press play. The quality isn't the best because I'm doing this live. Usually I'll edit it all together. I'm just doing this live, so it's not the best quality, but we're going to go through this video. So subscribe if you haven't done already. I would really love you to check out my channel and stay with me on this journey. YouTube videos every single week, just discussing all sorts of a range of topics. And basically, take that red pill, baby. Let's do it. Friggin' hell. These don't half piss
Linda,
me
is
off.
this something that you've ever experienced, not being paid an equal amount for doing the same job?
Yeah, because when we started Birds of a Feather, which was 89 and through the 90s and that, we weren't paid very much money because I don't think they realised how successful it was going to be. But halfway through the 90s, someone happened to mention how much they were getting, the boys were getting from Only Fools and Horses.
Oh my god. So this is what this Linda is saying. She's saying that the boys from Only Fools and Horses were getting more money than them, the women on Birds of a Feather. That's not the same job. That's a completely different situation. It's a completely different program. And when you actually look into it as well, Only Fools and Horses was one of the, it topped the charts for one of the most watched programs. I think I've got the link here. Only Fools and Horses tops chart of most watched programs in the 80-year history of British television. Why do you think you're not getting paid as much as the people from Only Fools and Horses? It's obvious. It's not because you're women. It's because Only Fools and Horses was more popular. You kidding? Ridiculous, man. It's a talent-based industry. And if you get better ratings, you will get paid more. If your TV show is running longer, you will get paid more. You absolute idiot.
So armed with this knowledge, we then said we want the same and maybe a little bit more, and we actually got it.
And the reason why you got it is because you asked for that pay rise. One of the reasons why women actually earn less than men over the course of years, it's not they get paid differently, but they earn less. It's because they don't actually ask for as many promotions as men do. Men just ask for more promotions and pay rises, and you can say, oh well, it's a confidence issue. Us women need to learn to ask for promotions and yeah, well, that's not men's fault. You've got to ask for your own promotions and take life into your own hands. So that's that. Let's move on.
Now, the BBC Director General, Lord Hall, has said that the BBC gender pay gap across the organisation is 10%, compared with an 18% gap across the UK as a whole.
And it's an earnings gap, as I say. Women tend to take more holidays. They take, obviously, maternity leave. Men work more hours. Men actually work more overtime. Women tend to choose lower paid jobs than men. So men tend to go into the higher paid jobs like engineering and sciences and IT, stuff like that. A lot of heavy manual labour jobs, well, think of like oil rigs and stuff. Women generally go into more caring based jobs, which just by default are a little bit more lower paying. That's fine. That's fine. Women will get to the age of around 30 and then weigh up the priorities and think, okay, do I now try and push for that promotion where I'm going to have to be doing 70, 80-hour work weeks, and I will get paid I will get paid good for that, and the same as the men? Or do I settle down and have a family, or do I start thinking about settling down and having a family now? And usually it's the latter. Usually the women will be like, do you know what? I'm 30, I'm 31, 32. I want to be having a family soon. Like, I can't be working 70, 80-hour work weeks. So then just by default, the men go for those jobs because men are driven by work a lot more than women are.
What that actually means is that they're not as bad as everywhere else, but it doesn't mean that they're good. It just means they're not as bad as everywhere else.
Because it's still pretty bad out there.
Yeah.
When you went to ask for your pay rise, did all three of you go
We all
together?
got paid exactly the same money, and we still do now when we do birds.
And did they give it to you straight away, or did you have to really
Our
ask?
agents had to haggle with them
A lot.
and say that we wouldn't be doing any more unless they gave us the increase, which we thought we deserved. Both
Yeah,
hit
too
shows,
right.
both, you know.
Well, of course you had to haggle as well because you were asking for the same, well, more than what the Only Fools and Horses folk were getting, and they were getting better ratings than you. So, you know, it doesn't make sense. So of course they're going to be a little bit reluctant to give you more money. Friggin' hell.
It's like my mum always said, my mum and dad always said, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Exactly.
True.
And we got it.
It's a good lesson.
I think
It's a
obviously,
very good
you know,
lesson.
it feels... I can remember doing my first job after leaving college, and I was a graduate. I got a degree in history and politics, and at the time I went into marketing. And the job I got, I started at the same time as a young boy who'd just done his A-levels. And I think we all know what's coming next. So I was in my early 20s. He was 18. He got taken out to meetings. He met clients. He was given the better jobs. And I kind of let it go for a few months and then basically sat down with my boss and said, what's going on? When am I going to get treated the same? And he just said, oh, this is how it is here. So again, let it go for a little while longer, trying to prove my worth, being a good girl. And he said, you women, you think just because you've got a degree, you're the same as a man.
Oh, my God.
I would expect you to be doing this job for at least 6 years before you're taken out to meet a client. Do you know the best thing that ever happened to me? Because not only did I quit right on the spot, but I also typed up all the diary entries that I'd written and I sent it to his boss, his boss's boss, his boss's boss.
Good for you.
Right, okay. So, Andrea, your point is stupid and invalid because once again, as I said at the beginning of the video, usually when people bring up points about anecdotal experience and their own experiences of sexism, it's usually from years ago. Andrea said there she was in her early 20s. This lad was 18. I think Andrea's 45 now, possibly a little bit older, maybe 46. It was 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, when you're talking about that. That sounds just like a knobhead boss. Of course, there's going to be, you know, here and there, a few sexist bosses or there's going to be a few sexist workplaces, of course, but it does not represent the majority. It's just the way it is. You think us men are sitting there going, oh, right, okay, let's plot this out. Oh, yes, we'll get all the men in. Yeah, we'll get all the men. Oh, look at her, she's a woman. Oh, no, get her away. No, they'll look at it as from a benefit standpoint. As a business, I own a business. I don't care about gender. I just care, can you get the job done? No? Okay, I don't care then. Can you get the job done? Yeah, come in then, come in, help the business out. It's all that matters. She left. Okay, sounds like a shit job, shit boss, but it was 20 years ago. Shut the up.
And that was 20 odd years ago and it's still going on now.
There you go, 20
when
years
I
ago.
started,
It's not still going on now.
One rule I always learnt in this industry is never discuss your fee with anyone because it does cause arguments and stuff. Like even in the past with husbands, like with Pete, we used to have, even if we did an OK shoot, we used to have separate contracts. I used to get more than him because I think...
Okay, there we go. So Katie's just dispelled the myth. She got more than Peter. So is that's sexist? Because there's a lot of female models out there who get more than men. There's more money in glamour modeling and female modeling with all the magazines than there is in male modeling. Do you know what I mean? male glamour model. Who gives a shit? Men want to look at women's boobs more than the other way round in magazines. You know what I mean? Because those men are pervs. So is that sexist then? You know, what about porn? Right? So let's just say it as it is. What about porn? Women get more than men in that. Yeah, sexist. The men us men need to stand up, and we need to get paid what we're worth, because I'm not having it anymore. I am a strong, independent man. I deserve money, same as the woman, even for not coming in as much and doing as many hours. Shut up. But what I like about Katie here is that she kind of indirectly addresses the point that she worked for it, and that she controlled her own fee, and she demanded what she was worth because she knew she put in the work and she was in demand, and people wanted to see her because of how hard she's worked over her life. So she kind of dispels this little myth in an indirect way.
But you're in a very unique situation, aren't you, in terms of a...
But even like in a normal job, it's like... But then when I was nursing, before I was doing modelling, the pay...
Okay, so Andrew just said there, you're in a very unique situation. Why is that? Because you're taking into consideration Katie's individual circumstances. Now, why don't we look at everyone else's individual circumstances? I'll tell you why. Because that'll actually dispel the myth. If we start looking at woman A over here and man A over here, and it's like, oh, man A, he works on average 60 hours a week. He's doing his 10 hours of that's overtime. Oh, he increased the company's profits by this much. He's never late for work. He's never even took any holiday. He hasn't even taken any holidays this year. And then, oh, we look at woman A as well. Oh, okay, yeah, so she doesn't actually work as many hours. She does around 40 hours a week, only 5 hours overtime. She takes a lot more sickness days, and also she's taken maternity leave 2 years ago as well. Now, don't you think that those individual circumstances matter? Don't you think they matter? There's even some women and stupid feminists out there who say that despite those individual circumstances, and despite that the woman's staying off for a year, even longer, to have a baby, they should still earn the same amount as the man. If the man gets paid 50 grand a year and the woman's off for that year and she's sick and doesn't work as many hours, she should get the 50 grand. No, she shouldn't. If you put in the same hours and everything's exactly the same, you get paid the same. And that's it. If you have different individual circumstances, that's going to affect the outcome. And guess what, baby? That's business. That's capitalism. We're not living in a communist place. Although I know some friggin' liberals want that.
I think women are just as powerful as men. I don't get it myself.
There you go. Well, there you go. Women are just as powerful as men. They are. It's just life choices. There's so many successful women out there who will just get rid of this myth and just completely dismiss it and say, no, it hasn't stopped me. Think about how many... Katie Price is a living example. You know what I mean? Like, and when did their success take place? Like, was it like close to 15 years ago? About 15 years ago. You could say it was less equal back then, yet she still stepped outside of the box and smashed it, didn't she? Because she wasn't a victim to her circumstances and wasn't being a crybaby.
Part of the problem is that actually women in business do lack a lot of confidence, because we're not brought up to ask for a pay rise, you know. I mean, when I was on The Apprentice, you know, I was...
Can I just say, neither are men. Men aren't brought up to ask for the pay rise. No one is. And if it's a confidence issue, that's a completely separate subject. That's no one's fault apart from your own. If it's a confidence issue with a man, it's his own problem that he needs to sort out. We're not in a business of hand-me-outs. Take the bull by the horns a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
But if you wasn't like that, you wouldn't be where you are today. So some women out there, have some balls, grow a pair.
Absolutely.
Yes, there we go. Let's leave it at that. What Katie says. You just got to have a little bit. You got to have some balls, grow a pair. And if you're putting in the exact same work, the exact same hours, you know, ask for your pay rise. That's fine, but stop demanding special treatment. If you're working less hours and then over the space of a year you're earning less, you're not going to get the same amount of money, let's face it. I've got a business myself, right? When you actually look at all our employees and all the self-employed trainers in my gym. You look at all the men actually earn more than the women. So we've got 3 female trainers at the moment, soon to be 4, and yet all the men earn more than the women. So why is that? Is that discrimination? No, I'll tell you why. Because the top 3 earners in our gym do 50, 60 and 70 hour work weeks. Well, 70 sessions, 50, 60 and 70 sessions a week. So the girls in our gym tend to do between 15, 25, 30 hours at the very, very tops. So that's just a life choice that they have made. So they're obviously not going to earn as much as well. Also, the lads in our gym, they command a higher fee because they do more sessions, they have more experience, they get more results, they're in more demand. So they've upped their hourly rate. Now, if we were to look at the hourly rate and go, oh, wait there, how come this lad is earning more than her? It's like, well, he's done, over the space of this year, thousands and thousands of sessions. She might have only done a few hundred sessions. So that's what you've got to look at. It's quite a ridiculous agenda that the media seems to constantly push these days, and they never really take into consideration the other factors, the actual individual factors that would actually just get rid of the argument completely. They say, oh, well, let's forget about the individual factors a minute. I know there's certain circumstances that people have, but you know, let's not look at that because they say get rid of the argument. Here's the BBC's best paid stars: Chris Evans, Gary Lineker, Graham Norton. I mean, those 3 names themselves. Think how long Chris Evans has been around. He used to do kids programs years and years ago, been around forever. Gary Lineker, you know, was a professional footballer, used to get paid millions of pounds a year to play football. He used to host the Olympics. He was sponsored by Walkers. Think of all the Walkers crisps adverts. Graham Norton, he's got his own show, like the smashes it with the ratings, interviewing top Hollywood actors. Who else we got? You know, Alan Shearer down there, another footballer. And then they're saying, where is it? Claudia Winkleman. She only gets paid $500,000. So what they're essentially saying is these top 3 earners here, so the men, the white male earners, they've been doing it for God knows how long. And then Claudia Winkleman comes in, obviously not as experienced. She should get paid the same amount as them, regardless of experience and regardless of portfolio, should I say. It's like me having my business, having our head coach and having him do absolutely amazing and you know, smashing it. He works with the business for 10 years. He gets a gross stake in the business and, you know, smashes it. He gets commissions, blah, blah, you know, helps grow the business over 10 years. Then we get a new trainer come in who's a girl. Let's say she trains with us for a year. Does that mean she should get paid the same as our head coach because she's female? No, do you know, and you know, watching this right now, that that's not true. Because there's certain factors, there's individual factors that our head coach has worked for longer. He gets more sales, he helps the business out more, and he's put in the time, and that's the way it is. So why should someone just come in and get paid more? It's like me going into a work and someone being on a higher grade than me because they've worked their way up the ladder. They're on a grade 6 or grade 7, and I come in and go, well, how come I'm starting on a grade 4? Or how come after only a year I'm only on grade 5? You know, when so-and-so over there, who's female, gets a grade 7, this is inequality in the workplace. She gets paid more than me. That doesn't make sense. It's like, it's not a gender thing, it's an individual thing, it's a getting the job done thing, it's a talent thing. What's actually funny is on Strictly Come Dancing, one of the female presenters gets paid more than one of the judges, who is, 1, he's qualified, 2, he's been on the show longer, 3, probably plays a more integral role in the show because he determines the outcome a lot more of the people who are dancing. So probably arguably more important. Yet the female presenter gets paid more than him. You can look this up. Look, I can't remember the names exactly. I'll try and link it below if I can find the names. So is that a gender thing? Maybe that is because she's a female and she should get paid more, even though she doesn't play as much of a vital role. think about that. So the argument is this sexism, or is it just people at different points in the career? Claudia Winkleman, she gets paid $500,000. Like you're asked anyway. Do you know who it is? It's mainly the leftist people on the left who are saying all this. It's all the liberals, or you know, I might get into trouble for saying that. Why are you asked that someone's making $500,000? You hold the key to your future. Stop saying there's a gender pay gap. Because if you continually say and believe there's a gender pay gap, then guess what's going to happen? You're not really going to go for that promotion because you're going to think, oh, but there's discrimination anyway. There's discrimination. I'm never going to get paid what I'm worth because of the discrimination in the workplace. Shut up. You will succeed if you push yourself. That's all that matters. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, make sure you subscribe, share. I feel like this video needs to get a lot of exposure, to be honest, because it's a very important thing, and it's false. It's just false. So, like the video, share it, guys. Shaun Jones, signing off, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.